Hey everyone, it's Tammy Warner with Aortic Hope. I'm glad you're here. I hope you're having a great President's Day if you're off work. If you're here, you found us, please like, subscribe, and share so other people can find us. We're getting so close to that magic number. So let's see what we have in store for this week. So, Movement Monday last week. Let's see what we were talking about. I think what we were talking about how Movement Monday started. And it all started in 2020 with COVID when we were all inside and trying to figure out our new lifestyle. And as we all know, doing nothing is doing something. However, many of us need some support to simply get moving. And there was an article about how to start exercising and how to stick with it. A lot of people will have excuses, and I don't hate exercising, but one of the top excuses would be I hate exercising, and the solution is, um, you know, if sweating in the gym and pounding on the treadmill is not your idea of a great time, try finding an activity that you enjoy. So dancing is moving. Any kind of physical activity is that's something that you enjoy. Just taking a walk at lunchtime through the park, walking laps of an air-conditioned mall while window shopping, walk, run, or bike with a friend, or listen to your favorite music while you move. So there's so many ways you can find something that you do enjoy. I'm too busy. This one is a good excuse for a lot of people. But even the busiest of us can find free time in our day for activities that are important. It's your decision to make exercise a priority. Short 5, 10, or 15-minute bursts of activity can prove very effective. So too can squeezing all your exercise into a couple of sessions over the weekend. If you're too busy during the week, get up and get moving during the weekend when you have more time. And just find things like parking further away. I know many of us have the handicap stickers. I know I do. And I try to be very strategic about how I use that. So let's say I'm going to a fair with my family, then I'll use the handicap sticker because I know I'm going to be walking for 2 hours and on my feet. If I'm going into the grocery store and I'm trying to get some steps in, I don't use my handicap sticker, and I park far enough away that I can force myself to get some steps in. So I'm too tired. It may sound counterintuitive, but physical activity is a powerful pick-me-up that actually reduces fatigue and boosts energy level in the long run. With regular exercise, you'll feel much better and more energized, refreshed, and alert at all times. Excuse number 4, I'm too old, I'm too fat, or my health isn't good enough, but you could always move. I mean, I know people in our community that use those the little bikes that are that you put in front of your feet in front of the TV, and you're just getting some blood moving with pumping that way. But it's never too late to start building your strength and physical fitness, even if you're a senior or self-confessed couch potato who has never exercised before. Talk to your doctor about some safe routines. You can Google so many chair routines that you could do on a dining room chair. Silly things like even, with 2 cans of soup. You guys have heard this before. You don't even have to have gym equipment, but things around your house. What I'm learning from some of the classes I'm taking is what's really important is to stay as fit as you can to do normal routine things, getting up and down out of a chair. So take your dining room chair and make it a point to stand up and sit down 5 times in a row to maintain that balance and that muscle strength. You don't have to always take the steps, but if you have not moved a lot that day, take the steps. Just standing, instead of sitting at a counter to peel potatoes and cut vegetables up for dinner, just standing makes a huge difference. So look for things during your day that you can work on your balance and strength that will make a huge difference for you. Exercise is too difficult or painful. The solution is no pain, no gain is an outdated way of thinking about exercise. Exercise shouldn't hurt. and you don't have to push yourself until you're soaked in sweat or even muscle aches to get results. You can build your strength and fitness by walking and swimming or even playing golf, gardening, or cleaning the house. So again, those normal activities like cleaning the house, what skills do you need to still be able to maintain a life of taking care of yourself the best that you can? And the last excuse is I'm not athletic. And the solution is still have nightmares from PE. You don't have to be sporty or ultra coordinated to get fit. Focus on easy ways to boost your activity level, like walking, swimming, or even working more around the house. Anything that gets you moving will work. So whatever you do today, try to move and your heart will thank you. I would like to add one on here as a solution is to form a group with other people. So I have like a group of like 5 or 6 other women that are about my age or my ability at the gym. And right now we meet every Wednesday and we actually weigh ourselves. So we have some accountability. And then we just, walk the treadmill, ride the bikes, do some strength training. Sometimes we'll go outside and walk. And that really keeps me going. I meet them every Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. I meet them for yoga. And you don't want to disappoint other people. So if you get up and you're feeling like, oh, I'm too tired, it's too hard, I'm too old. And then you remember that you have this social group that you want to meet with. So that is a real good motivator. So if you don't have that, look for it. So that was.
Hold on.
Oh, we have some friends.
Yeah, we want to say hi to Karen Heichel, hi to
Hi.
Christina, hi to Molly.
Oh, good.
We haven't seen Karen in a little while, and I said, "How have you
Yes,
been?" And she said, "I've been good, thank you." And we're glad to hear that.
good.
Molly says, "Exercise is very important to me." And then as we wrapped uh, the article, she said, "These are great reminders for those times we can use an excuse." And I love your add-in. I love you adding in. By the way, get other people to help hold you accountable.
Yes, yes. It really does help. Okay, topic Tuesday. Okay, so I'm gonna full disclosure here. This article I had a really hard time getting through. And I did look up the answer though. I do remember the answer to this question, but I had a hard time getting through this article. It's really triggered me. This was the surgery I had after my dissection. After I had my emergency dissection, 2 years later, I had a planned dissection. Not a planned dissection, a planned surgery. But just reading this article really triggered me. So I am not reading this whole article to you. I do recommend about reading about the aortic root replacement. Last week, we talked about aneurysms, and Duke this week did a really nice article about what this procedure looks like. I had the valve sparing aortic root replacement. I later on had to go in and I did have to have my valve replaced as a planned one. But the answer to this question, do you remember how many times greater than the size of a normal aorta an aneurysm was? And this was from last week, or actually like the week before. And the answer was 1.5 times greater. So it's considered an aneurysm if your aorta is 1.5 times greater than what it should be. So I am not going to spend a lot of time on this one. I gave Josh a heads up on this one that you guys can read this, but he gives such great information. And if you had this type of surgery and you want to understand what happened to you, I encourage you to read this article.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna see if
What?
I can get Molly to read it and record it
Oh,
between
that would be
now
wonderful.
and Thursday. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out.
Okay. Yay. Thank you. That would be great, Molly. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. It really triggered me. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I hope a lot of you had a chance to join the Q&A with Emmy Award-winning Kim McNichols. This was very interesting. If you did not have a chance to join it, it is on our Aortic Hope YouTube channel. I encourage you to go watch it. So Kim is an Emmy Award-winning journalist who started The Way to My Heart, now doing business as the Global PAD Association after covering a story in which she was not satisfied with the ending. The story began with travel around the world over the last 5 years to nearly a dozen countries and more than 24 states to cover, as a journalist, the FDA clearance process and global commercialization of what some told her could be a game-changing device in unblocking arteries. During her journey, Kim observed thousands of hours of procedures in which vascular specialists used multiple methods to unblock arteries in the legs and hearts, interviewed hundreds of doctors and patients, and met with dozens of medical device makers, as well as hospital and office-based lab, ambulatory, surgery center administrators. Through that experience, she discovered many heart attacks, strokes, and amputations are preventable with early diagnosis and appropriate treatment, which includes the use of advanced tools and techniques. That's when she decided to create a nonprofit focused on education, high-touch advocacy, and real-time support for PAD patients around the world to help them navigate the health care system through their PAD journey so as that they could have a better quality of life. Since inception, The Way to My Heart, now doing business as the Global PAD Association, has provided education, advocacy, and support for more than 12,000 patients, directly saving the limbs of nearly 1,000 no-option patients. She is also a vascular patient herself, along with members of her family. Kim was diagnosed with an aneurysm, as well as her brother, after their mom transitioned due to abdominal aortic dissection 2 years ago. She committed to working with Aortic Hope to further their mission in awareness and education and to help others with potentially life-saving information. And if you have not watched this YouTube, I highly recommend it. I actually listened to it while I was in the car the other day. I was driving, and she starts out with her mother being misdiagnosed, and how she ended up in the whole aortic world of aortic dissection. So I would really encourage you to go listen to that.
Hi, Melissa. Melissa joined us.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. So Live Survivor Series featuring Peter Magnuson was on Saturday, February 17th. And again, this is on our YouTube channel. Excuse me. And he did this live. So we don't find too many brave souls that will do this live. And they always think that they don't have enough to talk about. And he talked for an hour and 18 minutes. And he talked for an hour and 18 minutes, and his story, if you would like to understand and listen to somebody's experience and listen to not only the procedures or how he felt, the emotions that he went through, the procedures that he went through, including everything with his family, he is a very good storyteller, and I really enjoyed it. So he actually had, sorry, excuse me, his symptoms, he had 2 dissections, but his symptoms for his first one were very much along the line of mine. He also thought that he had food stuck in his throat. He had been eating a meal. And then he was trying to take his children up to go to bed and lost the feeling in the back of his legs, which was my same symptoms. So hold on a second here. But he did this live, and it's very much from his heart. So I hope you watch it. And then if you have not told your story, there's a form at the bottom that you can fill out that we would really encourage you to share your story. We always see be a shining star in other people's world, and let us know. Everybody's story is different, but there's so many common threads that gives us a feeling of being a part of the community when you read other people's experiences. Therapeutic Thursday. See, that's what's happened here. Okay. Wait a minute. I don't have a mouse. I'm on a borrowed. There we go. Did you know that some people in the aortic community find themselves going through the 5 stages of grief after a diagnosis or after surviving an aortic dissection? And for Therapeutic Thursday last week, we wanted to take a moment to validate those emotions that you might be feeling since your diagnosis or your event. According to an article in Healthline written by Ariana Denk, titled Processing Grief After a New Medical Diagnosis, Ariana explains that the type of grief that comes with chronic illness is complex. Grief is an experience that can completely consume you mentally, physically, and emotionally, and it doesn't just happen with the traditional sense of loss. And here are the 5 stages. I think we've all heard about these. Denial. So even though you know logically that you're entering a new relationship with your health, when a new medical issue comes up and you get a new diagnosis, it's common to need to work through the denial before beginning to process exactly what you're feeling. We know many community members want to bury their head in denial and pretend none of this happened or diminish what your symptoms may be. Those are coping mechanisms. Pushing through the day is a form of denial. And so take time to process everything that you are experiencing and every doctor's every doctor's appointments. It's like you got to feel the feels to get through it. I actually disassociated during my denial time. So that was interesting, and I've learned a lot about this process. Anger. Ariana explains that when anger is burning through you, it means you have most likely come to understand the reality of your situation, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're ready to accept it. Sometimes it feels easier or more manageable to lash out at others while you're grieving for yourself. In those moments when you're angry with the doctor for not diagnosing you or sooner, that the ER is sending you home without a proper diagnosis, maybe with yourself for not taking better care of yourself, or just the person who got in line before you at the grocery store. Wherever the anger comes from, try to enlist mindfulness techniques or grounding yourself. Anger is part of the stages of grief, and you need to learn healthy ways to cope with this emotion. And mindfulness is one of the best ways that I have found. And we try to share some mindfulness techniques during the week. Depression. The article mentions that depression can make chronic pain worse with head, body, and stomach aches. How do you know when your symptoms are from depression or from a different medical issue? First, let's note that no matter where your symptoms stem from, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, or behavioral health, they're valid. All of us at Aortic Hope understand the emotions you're feeling as we go through them as well. Support groups can come in handy during the stages of grief, and we have those for you. You can find further information in our support groups. It's very important to note that depression is something you should not take lightly and may need therapists or psychiatrists to properly diagnose and treat. If you find yourself in a crisis, seek proper resources or call 988, and that is a new number. So I'm glad that that's been included in here. And depression can present itself in so many different ways, and sometimes can be hard to recognize. Bargaining and negotiating. This could also be the called what if stage. During this stage, sorry, my mom's phone's ringing. During this stage, we tend to ask if we trust the process of diagnosis, have not been diagnosed sooner, or I'm sorry, people are coming in, the phone's ringing. During this stage, we tend to ask if we trust the process or diagnosis. We question if we've been diagnosed sooner, or maybe we ate a better diet or exercised better, we'll get better. The article mentions that though this isn't the same as denial, in which you're trying to shut out reality, the stage might feel similar because you're thinking of all the ways that the situation could have gone differently. Even though you can't actually change the past or predict the future, negotiating with your health can be a way to process this new reality. What ifs only seem to create larger issues like anxiety and more anger. Don't fall down the slippery slope. Learn more towards it. Lean into it is what it's saying. I'm sorry, I'm just making up the stuff now. So, but yeah, I don't feel like I stayed in the bargaining and negotiation very long. Acceptance. This is the stage you are working towards: accepting the diagnosis, monitoring, and treatment plans. This doesn't mean you have to like it. In fact, according to Ariana, it's important to note, though, that acceptance doesn't mean you have to be happy or pleased with everything that's happening in your body and your health. Acceptance does not have to mean contentedness. You might feel angry and depressed and overwhelmed in your situation, but that's okay. You just acknowledge it. Going through grieving over your job, your physical abilities, on top of a diagnosis is normal and important towards overall healing. Change the narrative in your mind that you're evolving into becoming a new self, a person who lives with their best life despite any limitations or changes. These thoughts alone may cause grief to come visit again, and that's okay. If you feel stuck, reach out to family and friends or support groups. Talking with your therapist or your physician will also be very important. And if you are active in any of our social media platforms, you will see that we address this so often. It's often a topic in our community. It's the purpose of all of our support groups. There isn't another group out there like us, and it's a different kind of survival. And I really encourage you, if you're new to our community, I really encourage you to join some of our support groups. We also have some groups that we don't even really talk about aortic health. It's just getting together with other people that understand what we're going through. And you can find all those support group links on our Aortic Hope page. They're right there. They're easy to find. And
Uh-oh. All right. Let's just see how long it takes for her to come back. I'll address some of the chat here. Melissa says, been through those stages as a widow and a patient as a caregiver and checked all the boxes. And Molly says, great advice for those who were angry about lack of proper diagnosis. I was watching and wait and still dissected. Inexcusable. And so I commented, strange how grief feels the same every time, though. Slipping into daydreaming, losing time, having a short fuse. It seems to be a little crazy. Now, Tammy's out of town, and we're producing from an alternate location. And so I don't know if somebody just walked over and clicked something and turned off the entire internet. But she has dropped the call. And yeah, well, I'm going to thank everybody for being here. We'll get these segments up at a later date. Thanks for staying. We love everybody.